Hi, my name is Havilah Clark, and I want to welcome all of you here today. I have the privilege of serving as the Vice Chair of Utah Presents Advisory Board. For those of you who are unaware, Utah Presents is a multidisciplinary presenter at the University of Utah that brings diverse artistic and cultural experiences to campus and throughout the region. And part of our mission is to explore and enrich the human experience through the lens of creativity and the arts. And so it is with great pleasure to welcome Gretchen Case here today. Gretchen is the director of the Center for Health, Ethics, Arts, and Humanities here at the University of Utah. And she also serves as faculty in theater and internal medicine at the School of Medicine here. And I'm so excited to have Gretchen here to talk about healthcare stories, a storytelling performance that we presented at Kingsbury Hall. And this is our 6th year. So exciting. And this will be taking place on Thursday, February 1st. And Gretchen, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about healthcare stories and how it came to be.
Sure. So we are collaborating always with not just Utah Presents, but for the Osher Center, which is also known as the Resiliency Center, that serves health sciences faculty and staff in particular. And together, Megan Call and Betsy Holm and Bethany Burr and I have worked on this performance because we understand that stories are important. Humans are storytelling creatures. We need to tell stories. We need to hear stories. And it's especially important for us to be in each other's presence, even though we're live streaming now. It's important to be in each other's presence when we hear and experience stories. So this is a live performance, and we've always perceived it as being important that you're there and you're hearing stories. And the stories you're going to hear are all in some way about healthcare. And medicine or healthcare is humans giving care to humans, right? And I always say that because if you don't think about the humans on either side of that equation, that's not really care. That might be transmitting information or using skills, but care is about the humans on either side. One of the ways we know who we are as humans is telling our own stories, understanding our own stories, and understanding stories of others. So and I give Megan Call so much credit for this of, being a fan of things like The Moth and The Bee, if any of you know those big storytelling events, and understanding that they can be entertaining, but they can also be really healing and community building and connecting. So we hope for all of that to come together next Tuesday. We're always really delighted with the stories we hear. The stories all come from our community. So they're all around healthcare in some way, but it's not just, 6 doctors or 6 patients. It's a mix of, we do have physicians, we do have people speaking as patients, we have people who are PAs, we have people who are on our staff here, and they're all telling something about health and healthcare. And they're also telling us something about promise, which is our theme for this year. And I'm going to just keep talking because that's what I do. But we chose the theme promise because we really wanted to hear stories that look forward, look to the future. And we're thinking of promise as both a noun and a verb. So what is the promise of the future? What is the promise ahead of us? And then how do you promise something and how do you keep that promise? So all 6 of the stories you'll hear are something about promise. It invites that idea into their story somehow. They're all true stories. They are rehearsed but not scripted. So it won't be a TED Talk. There won't be slides. It will be people talking to you as they might talk to you in everyday life, because that's what they're going to be doing about their own real lived experience.
I love that. And in my other life, working in the space of mental health, we know how important it is to share those stories. So tell me a little bit about what some of the students at the School of Medicine, why is this important for us to involve them? And what is something that you can get from this experience, whether you're a student, whether you're faculty, or whether you're just part of the community, what can you hope to get out of this experience?
Well, I would say I'm going to expand that past the School of Medicine and say really all students, I hope, have some interest in their own health. I think that for medical students, nursing students, pharmacy students, all the healthcare students in particular, this is a great way to hear kind of all aspects of the clinical experience you might not have heard yet. So hearing from someone who hasn't been diagnosed quickly, hearing from someone who sat at a deathbed with a loved one, those stories will help inform who they're going to be going forward, I hope. For performing arts students, for all our folks in College of Fine Arts, look at the power of word and performance and bodies on stage, what we can do with that. And then for students who don't count themselves either as artists or performers or as medical, but you also have a body, you also have ways that you move through the world. This is still a chance for you to come and say, how do people understand who they are? And I can't think of a field, I can't think of a way of life where you don't need to understand how to hear someone's story and what you can learn from someone else's story, because that's just central again to what human beings are. We explain who we are to each other, and then those explanations make our culture, make our society, make us who we are and how we get along with each other. So I would love all students to come.
I love that. And I love the intersection between medicine and humanities. And some of the things that I found really exciting about last year's performance was, even in some of the most profound tragedies, where it was hearing people's stories of how they found resilience, how they
Mhm.
were able to take something that could be so painful and so tragic, and to see them almost come to life and start to own that story and move forward and create a path forward, and seeing the reaction from people in the crowd in just awe and inspiration. And there was a profound sense of hope.
Mhm.
So, thinking about healthcare generally, and sometimes the way in which we see in the media, there's a mental health crisis, or we're experiencing all of these bad things. um, can you give us a sense, without telling us too much, for this year? Is there, what are sort of the emotions or sensations, or things that you expect people to take out of this? Like, what is that arc of diversity of story?
Yeah, and thank you, because this also gives me a minute to say that we ask every time we do this, or at least for the last few years, we've asked people to submit stories, and we've chosen stories that tell different parts of the healthcare experience. So these 6 folks were chosen from people who sent in their stories. Um, this year, I think you will again hear some moments of what might feel like tragedy. There will certainly be moments that feel like your eyes might start raining a little bit. But in all of these, there is a sense, I don't want to just repeat what you said, a sense of hope, but a sense of understanding, of making meaning, or of being willing to sit with it and being ready to make meaning. And that's part of what makes a good story too, especially for an event like this, is it's not just what happened, but what did you take from what happened? And that's what we look for in the stories we choose. And that's also, so I work with all of these folks as a director for months before this goes up. And that's really hard. These are busy people. None of the people we have right now are professional actors. So we find times to meet in each other's homes or offices. And one of the things I keep going over with them is, so why do you need me to hear it? What do you need me to know? And so these stories are always more than just this happened to me, whether that's good or bad or tragic or funny. It's, here's what I need you to know. So I hope and I think that's what you felt last year, and that will come again this year, is this may be very sad, or this may be very difficult. And a lot of the things we remember about our healthcare experiences are the sad and the difficult ones, right? Because if things go well, you're probably like, well, that was great and I'm better and moving on. But a lot of the things we remember are the ones where, like, why did that happen? So these are people who have been able to say, I think I have an idea of why that happened for me, or this has continued to make me ask questions, or I can see humor where I might not have at the moment. So just so people know, there are going to be some funny moments too. I think you will feel connected to the people on stage. These are real humans having maybe some experiences you've had and maybe some you haven't. And yeah, there will be some times when you might feel sad, but it's always with that bigger goal of, but I need to tell other people about this. I think there's something for them to learn.
I'm reminded, because we have Sundance currently happening in parallel with this, uh, learning about the storytelling process. It's interesting to hear that you're spending a great deal of one-on-one time with each of the individuals. I think a two-part question: one, what is your criteria? How do you go about that selection process? And can you give us a sense of, what were some of the challenges in whittling it down to this group and why you're so excited about them coming? And then, if you can give us into a little bit of a window into, what that exchange is like and how you're able to help elevate some of their stories in ways that they might not have thought of before, or what does that look like for you, helping tease those out?
Sure. So when we're looking at we call them story pitches, pitch us a story for 2 minutes. The ones that really jump out are usually there's an interesting like kernel to the story, center to the story, but also just what I was saying, this person is ready to tell this story. I mean, we all kind of are walking through various stories in our lives, and there's some of them aren't done yet. Some of them aren't ready for the stage. Some of them aren't all the way there. And there's certainly so many stories that we've seen and loved that just weren't ready, weren't yeah, but like to talk more directly about what we see, it's that it's time to tell this story. And you just get a sense after reading them that this person submitted because they're like, this is the time to tell this story. And there's something really interesting in there. We also have to make some hard choices about picking different kinds of stories, different kinds of perspectives. So we might have, lots of stories on the same topic, and we need to look at some different ones. So it's like anything else where you're trying to put together a group of people that individually are really amazing, but also as as a lineup are really amazing. And I should have mentioned that one of our storytellers from last year is returning, and he will be the MC for the event. So he will be interweaving between each story. And that's, for anyone who went last year, that's Charles Teams, who is just about to graduate as a medical student. He'll graduate in a few months, but he told a story last year about his first day in the OR. So he'll be weaving that together this year. Um, as for what the exchange looks like, when I work with folks, really I'm looking for what's already there. I'm helping them see a structure often that they haven't recognized. Um, you're telling this story in this way, you're telling this here for this reason. What if you told it here? Talking about some really things that have been with us as humans again for thousands of years that we want a beginning, middle, and end. Usually we want a satisfying conclusion. We want some built up tension. So where is that already there, and how can I help you see that structure and bring it out a little bit? Um, and then just helping them with basic stagecraft, depending on how comfortable they are on stage. I mean, everybody who submitted wants to go on stage, but many people have never been on a stage, certainly not as big as Kingsbury. So how do you do that? What does that look like? What do you do with your voice, your body? How do you get yourself ready for that? So that's a lot of what we do.
Fantastic. So you had mentioned a little bit about the Osher Center and the Center for Health Ethics, Arts, and Humanities. Tell me a little bit more about what makes these the perfect partners to present this, and what is that intersection between fine arts and resiliency?
Sure. So the Osher Center or the Resiliency Center, they go by both names. They, as the name suggests, they are committed to um, the resiliency, the well-being, the mental health, all the things that faculty and staff in healthcare need to have. And they're very busy, especially pandemic and post-pandemic. It's been a really hard time to be in healthcare. So they're really always looking for how can we be thoughtful, be proactive, be thinking about how to build people up. It doesn't all have to be there is something wrong and we're responding. It is also how do we build a community that supports each other. The Center for Health Ethics, Arts, and Humanities, and we've just been around for 3 years now. Before that, we were Medical Humanities and Bioethics. If anybody doesn't know, um, we we are looking always for how do ethics, arts, and humanities fit into the bigger picture of health and healthcare. And for me, this is the arts part of it, right? Arts is not extra. Arts is not just an illustration or a frill on the top. Arts is a tool. Arts is a way of communicating. So we've positioned ourselves, and we want to be the node for all the people who say, I think arts and medicine can do something together. I think healthcare and performance can do something together. So to us, it's a natural bond. And then we already had established, so I've worked with Utah Presents for I think 8 or 9 or 10 years now. on a number of different things that were specifically aimed at not only bringing health and ethics related plays and one-person shows and dance to the community, but specific to students in healthcare. And I know that's always been part of what Utah Presents does. So it all just came together a few years ago where we said, look at this partnership we could build and we could put this amazing thing on stage.
Yeah, no, I remember many of those partnerships, and those are some of my most clear memories coming from Utah Presents, because I still go back to some of the performances that you helped put on, like Informed Consent and Molly Sweeney, because it helped me think about things from a different lens. And it's amazing what can be done. And I think this speaks to the role of the humanities in the intersection, how you can reach someone or teach something or experience something in a much briefer time period than it would take to actually, teach that in a different way. And it's just so incredibly powerful. So I'm in awe of the work that you're doing there. I think the partnership has been an excellent one, but I think it's really important that everyone see this firsthand on stage. So give me a sense of why it's important to go to the live event. Why wouldn't you just want to see this on a live stream or online?
Sure. We really do think that it's different to be present with other people, to be able to see these people in front of you, to be sitting next to someone, to feel that connection, to go out and see who's in your community. And we know that is not accessible to everyone for various reasons and not possible. So we do audio record it, and we put the audio recording up for the last couple of years, and we'll do that again this year. So you can go back and listen to those stories again. But we really want to respect and revive that idea that when we can, we are together in person. And that it makes a difference hearing a story that someone tells you while you're there. There's something about the body being present. That's the arts and humanities too, right? We know that, well, that's healthcare too. Your body being present is a thing. We're not all meant to be, apart from each other. We're meant to be together.
Absolutely. And I love that you audio record those. Is there anywhere that people can go just to get a taste of what previous years might have been like so that they can get excited about what's coming up with Promise?
Absolutely. They're posted on the Accelerate Utah webpage, and we can post that for everybody to go back to. But the last 2 years have been professionally audio recorded, and they are up there. So you can hear the kinds of stories that will be coming, although they'll be different stories.
Wonderful. And so can you give us a little bit of a sneak preview to who some of the storytellers are this year? What is that perfect blend of folks that are sharing their various healthcare stories?
Sure. And without giving things away, I'll just tell you who's speaking. So we have director of volunteer services at the U Hospital. We have one of our communicators and community outreach folks from Huntsman. We have one of our physician assistants. We have a physician who will actually be speaking from the point of view as a patient, which is always interesting when you're both physician and patient. We have a retired physician. We have, if I forget someone, I'm going to be in trouble. And we have our one of our vice presidents speaking. Did I get to 6? I hope so. And then
I think so.
and then a medical fourth-year medical student about to graduate who's going to be our MC.
Wonderful. Well, I know that I'm really excited, and I hope that others have gotten really excited. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with folks about why they should come, why this year is going to be outstanding, and any additional information that they might want to look into before next Thursday's performance?
I think it's just about getting over whatever that energy activation energy is that you just need to go. It won't be a waste of your time. It will be something new. It might be something very different. I know you'll have a good time. Keep in mind that student tickets in particular are $5 with the Arts Pass. So that is a pretty great deal for going out for the evening. I think I would just love people to come, even if they're like, I don't know, take that I don't know and go for like, why not? And come on over and see what we're doing. We've worked really hard. We think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's a good reminder about the student tickets. I believe there's going to be a link directly to tickets where people can go purchase theirs. They will be going fast. So Thursday, February 1st, healthcare stories. Oh, Tuesday.
right?
I think it's
Oh, it's Thursday.
Thursday. Sorry. I'm glad.
That
I'm
was
glad.
me. That was me. Sorry.
All good.
I'm going to send people there the wrong day. Thursday.
Thursday, February 1st, Healthcare Stories at Kingsbury Hall, presented by Utah Presents. Gretchen, thank you so much for making time. I cannot wait to see what's in store for this year. You always do such a phenomenal job. And I know that everyone who joins an audience takes something away. And we hope that you'll get tickets, and we hope to see you there next Thursday.
Thank you so much, Havila. It's always good to talk to you.
Thank you.